Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 9th, 2016 meeting of the Kern County Planning Commission. We have a quorum. I'll call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call roll?
Mr. Louie?
Here.
Mr. Babcock?
Here.
Ms. Garcia? Ms. Poole? Here. Mr. Sprague?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Ms. Oviatt? Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Thank you. Let's move on to commission member announcements or reports. Are there any? No. Let's take a look at our minutes
Mr. Chairman, just real quick, just because you were going through, I just wanted to let your commission officially know that the planning department has now, it's gone through and the ordinance has taken effect, and the planning department is now the Planning and Natural Resources Department. So that would be the only announcement that I'd let your commission know, is that change is effective as of the end of the May.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Murphy, could you identify your staff member sitting beside you?
I do. This is Anjanette Simon. She is a supervising planner within our department.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Let's take a look at our minutes from May 26, 2016. Are there any corrections?
If there are no comments or additions, deletions, I would make a motion to approve. Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Sprague, a second by Commissioner Babcock. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Let's move on to cases withdrawn or requests for continuances. That's items 2 and 3. Mr. Murphy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have two cases this evening that are on your agenda where staff is recommending a continuance. The first is CUP number 10, map 41-30. The applicant is Southern California Edison Company by Elements Architecture, Inc. The staff report identified a continuance till June 23rd. However, your commission did receive an addendum this evening. Staff believes that it is more appropriate to continue this project until July 14th, 2016, so that we can look at some of the concerns raised by residents in the comments that have been provided. So again, the recommendation for item 2 is to continue until July 14th, 2016. The second item for continuance tonight is SPA number 84, map 101, zone change case number 185, map 101. That applicant is Floyd Hinesley by Porter and Associates. The staff recommendation is to continue until June 23rd, 2016. That completes the reading of the items for continuance.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any comments by commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the item D as presented by staff.
Motion by Commissioner Babcock.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sprague. Please cast your votes.
All ayes.
All right, the consent agenda. It looks like we have no consent agenda items. So let's move on to public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the commission on any matter not on this agenda and over which the commission has jurisdiction. Would anyone from the public who's here tonight like to address the commission? Seeing none, let's move on to public hearings, and we'll start with new case number 1. Before we do that, I have a disclosure I'd like to make. I did meet with the applicant. I met with Amity Babutin Burnham, Krista Hudson Gonzalez, Catherine Malone, as well as Linda Parker. Are there any other disclosures?
I also met with the applicant.
Okay, let's go ahead and take up new case number 1. Mr. Murphy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As your commissioners pointed out, I have a staff member with me tonight. Again, this is Anjanette Simon. She's the supervising planner who oversaw the processing of this case, along with Carlos Rojas, who is in the audience. And Ms. Simon will be giving the presentation this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Good evening, Chairman Louie, commissioners. The project before you tonight is the Valentine Solar Project by EDF Renewable Development, LLC. The implementation of this project would facilitate the development of 115 megawatts of renewable electrical energy on 1,430 acres of land and includes a total of 94 parcels. The proposed project includes the installation of an operation and maintenance building on site and will connect to an available and existing electrical distribution infrastructure, which will ultimately connect to the designated breaker at the existing SCE Whirlwind substation. The project site is located approximately 14 miles southwest of State Route 58 and approximately 28 miles of Interstate 5 in the Willow Springs area. The project consists of undeveloped lands, and none of the parcels are subject to the Williamson Act contract. There are several existing and permitted solar energy and wind energy transmission projects in the region. In particular, Catalina Renewable Energy Project is located immediately to the project's northeastern boundary. Tonight, the applicant is requesting approval of the following amendments to the Willow Springs specific plan to modify existing boundaries, to remove section and midsection line road reservations, amendments to the circulation element of the Kern County general plan to remove section and midsection line road reservations, changes to the zone classification from PLRS FPS to A FPS and to A on approximately 21.5 acres, and from E20RS FPS to A FPS on approximately 731 acres. And 4 conditional use permits to allow for the construction and operation of the following solar photovoltaic power generating facilities in the A district. In addition, staff would like to note that within the draft environmental impact report for the proposed project, vacations of public access easements were analyzed to eliminate existing public access easements. At this time, consideration of vacations of public access easements is not authorized for consideration by your commission. However, this request will be brought to the Board of Supervisors at a later date. Approval of the vacations is not necessary for the construction or operation of the proposed project, and the EIR was analyzed with full build-out of the project sites as if the vacations were approved. Lack of vacations would decrease the project build-out and would not warrant additional environmental review, as the project could be constructed with or without the elimination of the public access easements. An environmental impact report was prepared for this project in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines. As required by CEQA, the EIR includes appropriate review, analysis, and mitigation measures for the environmental impacts of the proposed project. 17 written comments and 26 letters of support from individuals or agencies were received on the draft EIR during the public review period. As required by Section 15088 of the state CEQA guidelines, responses to these comments were prepared and provided to agencies and interested parties that submitted return addresses. The response to comments was circulated 10 days before this hearing. In accordance with the state CEQA guidelines, the final EIR has been completed and comprised of 3 documents. Volumes 1 include chapters 1 through 10 of the draft EIR. Volume 2 includes appendices A through N of the draft EIR, and Volume 3 includes chapter 7, which is response to comments. These documents have been provided to your commission for review and consideration. The final EIR contains 42 mitigation measures to reduce significant impacts from the project, and the mitigation monitoring program is included as Exhibit C for your review. Tonight, your commission has also received an addendum staff report which addresses comments received by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife regarding suggested revisions to mitigation measures for clarification or added protection of wildlife. Your commission, should your commission have any questions regarding the revisions, staff would be happy to address those. Based on the facts and findings presented in the staff report, staff recommend that your commission recommend to the Board of Supervisors to certify the environmental impact report, adopt revised Section 15091 findings, adopt Section 15093 Statement of Overriding Considerations, adopt revised mitigation measuring monitoring program, approve general plan amendments as requested, approve zone changes as requested, approved conditional use permits subject to conditions, approve the memorandum of understanding agreement, and recommend the Board of Supervisors chairman to sign and adopt the suggested revised findings as set forth in the attached draft resolution. That concludes staff report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open the public portion of this hearing at this point. Would the applicant like to come forward and make a presentation? I'd also note that Commissioner Garcia has joined us.
Good evening, Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, staff. My name is Catherine Malone. I can spell that if they need. I work with EDF Renewable Energy, and I'm here to talk to you tonight about the Valentine Solar Project. I'd like to begin this evening by taking the opportunity to thank the Chairman and the Planning Commissioners, as well as the planning staff, for their tremendous effort on this project. Next slide, please. Above you is a brief outline of what we're going to go over this evening. I'm going to talk a little bit about who EDF Renewable Energy is, about the project, and then there'll be a point at the end where we'll have the contact information. Next slide, please. EDF Renewable Energy's mission statement is turning innovative renewable energy ideas and long-term relationships into ethical, high-value, sustainable business. Next slide, please. EDF Renewable Energy is a developer, owner, and operator of renewable energy projects that has a 30-year track record with Kern County. We started in the mid-'80s, and our most recent project was constructed in 2015. We have over 10 gigawatts of operation and maintenance contracts, and we have over 7 gigawatts of renewable energy projects throughout the U.S. Next slide, please. At EDF Renewable Energy, it is very important for us to become a community partner with the local areas that we do business in. Some of the ways in which we make that commitment to the communities is through outreach to the local areas. In Kern County, some of the ways we do that is through funding of a technical training program for the wind and solar technicians at the Kern County Community College District. We also participate in the local schools by providing an annual scholarship for science and engineering students. We participate in the Revitalize Mojave and in the Mojave Chamber of Commerce, doing different types of outreach efforts with them, from seasonal giving efforts for Christmas and the holidays and other things. Next slide, please. As your planning staff has indicated, the Valentine Solar Project is a up to 115 megawatt PV solar project. It's on approximately 1,430 acres of private land. There is no public land in the project. The project is going to be utilizing existing infrastructure as much as possible, and some of the ways that it does that is by utilizing the already constructed operations and maintenance facility, which is up off of Tehachapi Willow Springs Boulevard. And in addition, it's going to use the electrical gin-tie lines that were built for the Pacific Wind and the Catalina Solar projects. It's going to take that energy down to the SCE Whirlwind substation, and the project footprint was designed to minimize impacts. Next slide, please. As you can see, the project is located in southeast Kern County. Next slide, please. It's bordered on the west, as your staff had pointed out, by the Pacific Wind project, and to the north and east by the Catalina Solar and Catalina Solar 2 projects, respectively. Its main access point, as staff pointed out, was on 140th Street West. Next slide, please. Some of the benefits of the project are that it creates local tax revenue, and it also creates stimulates local businesses by providing temporary construction jobs and permanent operations and maintenance jobs. Some of the other ways it helps is by offsetting the carbon dioxide emissions, which we all produce, and it also helps California reach its goal to 50% RPS by 2030. Next slide, please. That concludes our presentation. EDF Renewable Energy respectfully requests that Kern County Planning Commission recommend approval for the proposed project. EDF is available with its technical team in the audience for any questions that the planning commissioners may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition of this project? Seeing none, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project? Looks like we have three. Would someone please like to come forward and approach the mic? Can you please state your name?
Tamara Baker. Good evening, Chairman Louie and fellow commissioners. My name is Tamara Baker, and I work for Kern Economic Development Corporation. Kern EDC is charged with creating high-value jobs for Kern County and diversifying our region's economy. I'm speaking in support of EDF Renewable Energy's Valentine Solar Project. With every new project, Kern EDC looks to see if it brings capital investment to the county, jobs, and wage income, and this project does that. We have previously worked with EDF on the Catalina Solar and Pacific Wind projects. This specific project tonight will be up to 115 megawatt facility and will create 450 construction jobs. These jobs will be local and offer transferability within the energy sector. And by that, I mean that due to the low oil prices, many have lost their jobs. The jobs provided by this project require similar skills. This is an opportune time for this project, a project of this economic significance. Additionally, EDF has a purchase power agreement with Southern California Edison. EDF Renewable Energy is one of the largest renewable energy developers in North America with 7.8 gigawatts of wind, solar, biomass, and biogas projects. We respectfully ask that you support this important project. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the next speaker like to come forward?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Council. Excuse me. My name is Jim Elrod, J-I-M-E-L-R-O-D, and I'm the business manager of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And EDF's been a partner of ours for several years now, up and down the state of California. They have really reached out and worked with us. They are very concerned about local hire and being able to get training for people in Kern County and sustain jobs in the future. The Catalina project was actually the very first solar projects that we were involved in Kern County. And back in that day, we had 71 apprentices in our program. And today we have 133. And it's largely to do with projects like this and the other projects that you guys have approved in the past. And we have made substantial gains in our apprenticeship. These are all Kern County residents. The projects have been great. Just as a rough guess, we have a classification called construction wireman panel installer. These individuals do not have to have any previous electrical experience. It's an entry-level position that gives an individual, whether it's a man or a woman, an opportunity to, as I like to say, is a test drive. They test drive us, we get to test drive them. We find out whether they can show up every day, follow directions, work safely, and be reliable. And if that's the case, then they get to apply for our apprenticeship, and then they go through the process, and if we do, we'll pick them in interim. And that classification, since the first project, which was Catalina, we have dispatched 862 people from Kern County. Every one of these are Kern County residents. I can't tell you that they're all still working because some of them only worked a day or two and couldn't cut it and moved on. But the majority of them have still, and today are still working in this project. We have another classification called an unindentured apprentice. Those are people who have the high school diploma or GED with 1 year of high school algebra with a C or better, or 1 semester of college algebra with a C or better. Those individuals are able to apply, fill out an application for the apprenticeship, and then while they're waiting to go through the process, we put them to work on these projects. And we have dispatched 661 of those individuals. And out of those, we have had our in our last apprenticeship class that we started, we have 21 apprentices that were formerly panel installers that applied for the apprenticeship and got in. We have 43 that were unindentured apprentices that applied and got in. So all those individuals started out like this. I'm sorry, you can't see what it is, but those are the numbers that we had. And so these are great opportunities. And without partners like EDF, we would never have the ability to create. And these are people who are underemployed or unemployed, and now they've had an opportunity to get a skill level, which is it's a lifelong skill. This is not something that electricity is not going to go away. And even if it slows down in Kern County, as these individuals turn out from their apprenticeship, and they are state indentured, so the state of California recognizes them as a state indentured apprentice. These people can travel all over the country and be able to gain employment. And as you well know, one of the problems in Kern County is to get business to come in here and build things. And as my job, the things they ask are, do you have people to man my projects? Do you have qualified people to man my projects? And if you don't, contractors don't want to bid that work. They don't feel comfortable that they can make a profit on it. So the customers also realize that if they can't get skilled, trained labor, then they don't want to take a chance of building it. And if you have to depend on a contractor to come from Arizona or San Diego and start bringing all their people, that doesn't help the economy in this area. So projects like this with EDF and others that partner up with us, it's really a win-win situation for the community. So I would urge that you would support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Chairman Louie, members of the Planning Commission, my name is John Spalding. I'm Secretary of the Building and Construction Trades Council. We have had a long-standing relationship with EDF, and they're one of the first partners to come into this area and really make a statement about local hire. Because of them and the success that we've had with them, the Planning Commission then adopted way early a 25% ratio of local hire. Obviously unenforceable, but nevertheless, they set the standard, you set the standard, and they exceeded this. And with that success, we then realized that, and I think you realized, that we could raise that standard to 50%. For those others that came in that didn't quite have that general interest in complying with our local hire needs. Jim Elrod, who you heard before, and I both sit on a WIB board, and they are now doing a pre-apprenticeship program through the local employers training resource. We work with Bakersfield College. We work with a number of entities to try and bring new people into the construction industry. Not only do we have electricians, we have operating engineers, we have laborers, carpenters, ironworkers on these projects, and they are a partner with all of these crafts. We wholeheartedly support that you support the recommendation of your staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak in favor?
My name is Ron James. I'm the district representative for Operating Engineers Local 12, Kern and Yolomo counties. Chairman Dewey and staff, thanks for letting me get up here and speak on this. The solar projects have created a lot of work for our membership, and we do have an apprenticeship program. We've just been tested our apprentices. We've been bringing them in probably here lately, probably 4 or 5 a week, and I think we tested 400 or 500 of them, and we have several on our solar projects that are going now, and they're our future, and we keep putting the new kids to work that high school diploma, GED, driver's license, and they're out here running the forklifts, doing running post drivers. We represent survey, inspection, guys that are running the blades and the loaders, cranes, all of that is our forte. And I hope you guys will okay this EIR and put some more of our members and Kern County citizens to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's return it back to staff. Does staff have any follow-up comments? No? Okay, I will close the public portion of this hearing and return it to the dais. Any commissioner comments?
Sure.
Commissioner Spray?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I read this whole thing and reviewed the site, and where it's at, where it's going, and what it's going to produce and do for Kern County. I applaud the union speakers that were here with their apprenticeship programs, because I think they're real important to Kern County and to the economy of the county, and their affiliations with the local planners here, as well as all the engineering and architectural services, along with all the worker services that are provided, and that you have a great institutional setup that we have followed for a long time, and this Planning Commission has supported your efforts, and I think we're seeing the fruits of that at this point, and I would hope that that process continues, and that we get much more qualified people that can not only do solar, but the wind energy area and oil and gas areas. And if something were to happen to solar and electric where there weren't enough jobs available, with the training that they get through your programs, it's my opinion that they could move on into the oil and gas sectors, along with those electronic panelings and oil well services and gas services and pipelines, and do justice for themselves and for the county and the citizens of Kern County. So I applaud you for that, and I think this is a great project. I'm happy to support it, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for letting me speak.
Thank you, Commissioner Sprague. Any other comments? No? Before we take a vote, I would like to thank the applicant. Thank you so much for your commitment to hiring locally. That means a lot, and you saw from the trade associations, their people who came and spoke, how much that means to the citizens of Kern County. Thank you. Okay, so is there a motion if there's no further comments?
Mr. Chairman, if there are no comments, I would be prepared to make a motion as read into the record by staff.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Sprague, a second by Commissioner Poole. Please cast your vote.
The motion carries.
Since this is going to the Board of Supervisors, there's no notice to the right of appeal. Okay, thank you. And so that brings us to adjournment. Our next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 23rd, 2016 at 7 p.m. in these chambers. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.